Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
And welcome back to another one of our Topical Tuesday videos where we like to start conversations with you guys down in the comments below. We like to bring up a topic that is kind of pertinent. This one is actually a recurring series for us where we talk about 3 available bourbons or ryes that we've been reaching for lately. And we want to know what you guys have been reaching for lately. So leave that down in the comments below. We might pick up something, or we might learn something from you that we need to pick up, much to my budget's chagrin. Let's not delay. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's.
First up on the docket is going to be 1792 small batch.
Yes, sir.
Coming in under 30 bucks at a fairly decent 93.7. Such an odd proof point.
Yeah,
I can never remember it. But we actually bought this bottle for some stuff for the channel. Had it on our August live stream. I didn't really like it all that much then. You liked it more than I did. But I've actually found myself gravitating back towards it and enjoying it quite a bit for like a nice, easy late night pour when I don't want to have my face blown off by proof.
You don't want to think too much. You just want to enjoy something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this honestly is everything I love about Barton, which is like a very nice balance of kind of a fruity banana sweetness with a little bit of oak influence, a nice vanilla element that I like a lot. When I can get kind of a vanilla ice cream vibe in a glass, I really like that.
Yeah, you do.
But what this adds to the mix that some of the other 1792 expressions don't have is a little bit of like a raspberry candy or raspberry fruity element to it. So this is a good pour. This actually used to be our decanter whiskey many years ago, and we kind of gotten away from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the money, it's hard to beat this one. Next up is going to be a classic, and it's going to be any Maker's Mark 46 cask strength or Maker's Mark private selection. Any Maker's Mark in this bottle, they're so good, especially on ice.
Yes.
And
that's this is the drink we drink when we want something on ice.
And they're non-chill filtered, which I think helps a lot with them on ice. But what I will say about these is that they're so good on ice, even almost better than I prefer them neat, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
But with us, this pour right here is something that we have been grabbing lately because we have been very busy, and sometimes you just don't want to sit down with a pour and think about it and analyze it and smell it 1,000 times. You just want to sit down with something that's really enjoyable to sip on, and for us, this is that on ice. We don't even have to think about it. It's just good. These do ring in at a higher price tag. You're going to be paying 70, 80 bucks for one of these, so it's not nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not something you're going to be mowing through, but these do come in pretty high. Like, this is 110.3 proof. I think the lowest one we have in the house is 108 point something proof.
Yeah.
So you're not drinking through a lot of it. But particularly on ice, it just brings out this really creamy aspect to it that we really enjoy, and it gets really heavy vanilla and caramel flavors that we like a lot, in addition to just all the general sweetness that Maker's Mark brings to the table. If that sounds like your cup of tea and you haven't tried Maker's on ice, absolutely try. And if you haven't tried Maker's at all, then buy a bottle. Next up, though, we got to get into Starlight. And I think Starlight, or what they bring to the table here for us, is that they're bringing something different, right? They have a lot of different finished whiskeys, which is what we've been enjoying a lot lately.
That's kind of how we started. That's how I started drinking Starlight, was the finished whiskeys.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a double oaked rye, which is probably our favorite expression that we've ever had. And this is a fairly new bottle from Brian Miller, hooking us up out of Georgia. Thanks, brother. Cannot thank you enough for this bottle, because for whatever reason, our stores here in Nashville, Tennessee, don't do double oaked rye picks. They do a lot of double oaked bourbon picks.
Sad times.
But even me as a bourbon guy, the double oaked rye is where it's at. So if you're a bourbon person and you don't hate rye, you have some that you like and some that you don't. If they have a double oaked rye in your state or your store, absolutely grab one.
Give it a try.
These are fantastic. They do keep the rye backbone, but they add in so much sweetness from that double oaked process.
It's good. It's a good happy mix, I think, of like what bourbon drinkers love and what rye drinkers love.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got so many other finishes too, like the VDN finish. I don't even know what VDN stands for. It sounds like something you need to see a doctor about. But nonetheless, it's really, really good. We have an apple brandy finish bourbon that's really good. And we've just been gravitating towards these for a little something different off the beaten path from standard Kentucky bourbon lately. Now these do ring in at about $70 or so, depending on your store and your market and all that stuff. So they're not cheap, but you're usually getting higher proof points in the high 100s to 110s.
So you're not probably drinking it as fast.
Right. And it's finished, and you are supporting a craft distillery that's doing something really good. So there's something to be said for that as well.
So that's what we've been reaching for lately. What have you guys been reaching for lately? Let us know in the comments below. Also, I think that's it as far as the topic is concerned.
It is.
We got some other stuff to talk about.
We do have some other stuff,
What do we have?
and it's whiskey related. Don't click out just yet.
Okay.
We want to highlight the podcast. Will and Grease over there, they had a live stream as of the filming of this. It was a very recent live stream. As you're seeing it, it was a while back, but we still want to bring attention to it because it was such a good topic where they discussed bourbon burnout. And it's one of the better conversational pieces I've seen in a long time about this. And the thing is that the bourbon culture and everything that comes with it, like the waiting in line and all that stuff, like that's a fun hunting aspect for some people. And then the sharing and all that, that's what we enjoy the most about the hobby. But there's this whole other element where people are just turning stuff for profit. There's, companies are just coming out with these cash grab limited releases and things like that. And it can get a little disheartening. There's also a whole online culture around these crotch shots where you got to have your steering wheel and your watch and your bottle in there that you just got. And it's just, the whole thing is just kind of getting out of hand. It's becoming a little bit of a parody of itself. I think we can say that bourbon culture has jumped the shark. It's an outdated reference.
What does that mean?
That's a super outdated reference.
Isn't it jump the ship?
No, jump the shark. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a saying.
I'm going to have to Google that later. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's real. But bourbon culture is doing that.
Okay.
And it's not that there's not good things about bourbon culture, but there's a lot of things that are making people who have been really happy with the hobby for a long time get a little bit jaded on it. And it really is. So around here, we really like to spread positivity. That's what we're all about over here, over on our Patreon. Everything we do on our live streams, we really try to feed into that positivity. But we realize not all online spaces are going to feed into that positivity.
Yeah.
But Will and Grease had a really good conversation on this. Some of the things you can do to stay interested in the bourbon hobby despite all this stuff going on that might be rubbing you the wrong way.
We'll put that link to that live stream in the video description below so you can check it out if you haven't seen it already. And I think that's it for today. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, do that. Go ahead. You know what to do. And also hit that bell icon to be notified when we post our monthly live streams.
That's it for this one. Be good to each other. And until next time, cheers.